one. For the next minute, you're gonna close your mouth and only breathe through your nose, both inhaling and exhaling. Adjust the speed that you can be successful with this drill. You may panic a little bit at first, that's okay. You're gonna get plenty of oxygen. This is gonna force you to run taller.
All right, we are back. It is TRE episode, what is it, 54? 54. You know what, every time, I have like a little bit of PTSD from him not being here, and so every time we start, I'm like, wow, Nate's back, this is great. so guys, we have an interesting show for you today. We're gonna get a little personal. We're gonna dive straight into topics that are usually not talked about. I think we're both gonna give our personal stories and takes on this type of stuff. But we're gonna be talking about general health, nutrition, like how to look at nutrition versus and just performance in general. When we look at health versus performance, when you're making a delineation between the two. And we got Elizabeth Impine calling in. So.
Yeah, she's going to be calling in about halfway through, just giving her perspective as a nutritionist working with runners of all stripes, but also working with a lot of elite runners as well. I think today's session was also inspired recently by Mario Fraioli's morning shakeout post on his own, battle with race weight and eating disorders. And I think when we're all told that we need to be skinnier to run faster, we all ingest those messages different ways.
Just implicitly, I mean, you look at everybody who's on Runner's World and everybody's like super, super slender.
And it is, but what's interesting is how big a role perception plays in this. Because you could have the person who's incredibly objectively thin, but if they don't view themselves that way, it doesn't matter. And we want to talk about it. And it's not just something that women deal with.
Not at all.
Men deal with. Like I have, for better or worse, dipped a toe in those ugly waters.
Sure, same here.
So we'll get into some of those things. But should we say hello to people first?
The first comment that I saw was a comment from a guy named Jazzman and says, "Hey, I broke my rib, can I train?" I love comments like that. First of all, Jazzman, that's a cool name.
That is a cool name.
We can talk about that, but let's just kind of say hi to everybody. I see some common faces, some people that have been with us for a long time. David Friswell, how's it going? Edward is here, reliable, always with us. We talked to him on Monday. Some really choppy playback on the intro.
We got that fixed. It's because my little speaker was on at the same time.
It's his fault.
Messed it up. Sam, what's up, Sam? Hey, Nate, Craig, and TRE family. It is a great day. Sam Wiggins, what's up?
Sam has been with us for how many years? Sam, how long have you been with TRE? I mean, you first brought, I think, the 30-day challenge. I can't remember. This must be like at least 3.5 years or so.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But if you guys are new, check in, say hello, don't be shy in the comments. We always love to know where you're coming in from.
And as part of today's discussion, let's not forget that Nate and I are both training for the San Francisco Half Marathon.
We are.
And so we're going to do maybe we can start with a quick check-in on...
We're in week 2.
I have had things I wanted to say to Nate that I've saved specifically for this call.
Those are always good.
I was like, and then I was like, no, I'm going to wait. So it's come up a few times today, a few times yesterday. I was like, nah, I'm going to wait.
That's good. As usual, should we tell them about our giveaway?
Yes, let's do it.
Our giveaway is...
something that Nate and I both use on a daily basis.
TRE, the Run Experience Pop Sockets. If you don't know, these are like the coolest things to add to your phone. They go like this, and it's just like a cool little grip for your fingers. It also works as a stand. I could put this down and prop my phone up on the thing.
It's also a toy. If you get it, you'll play with it endlessly. It's a lot of fun.
And it is a poor man's Bluetooth, because what I used to do is drive around I would just hook this on my t-shirt and like call people in the car. And before like, I had a car that I
can't hear you. I can't hear you. And then he picks up, he's like, can you hear me now? I'm like, yeah, now I can hear you.
This is clear as a bell. This is about as good as
you know what I want?
Get.
It's actually, so they are these AirPods. They're not the cheapest things in the world, but they do work. How about TRE purchase you a pair of AirPods?
I like poor man's Bluetooth better, but
we're gonna do that. Next week at this time, he will have an AirPods as well, and maybe we can do like matching twins.
Oh, there we go. Then we can put those in there.
And there'll be no more poor man's Bluetooth, and it'll be like a gift that keeps on giving, because when you call me, I'll be like,
you'll be able to hear.
Nate, wow, what is that? I can hear you so clearly.
All these, layers of everything. Heather, why is my screen cracked? Because my phone...
I'm gonna do this. I think we're gonna.
It actually cracked. It cracked for real yesterday.
This is like a major tool for our business, and Nate now. Is it actually? Oh, your phone is cracked.
It might be cracked.
Oh,
I know.
Hurtful. Because for the longest time, he had a cracked screen protector that made it look like his phone was cracked, but his phone was not cracked.
So
and
people
finally
steal it.
What? This is horrible. What happened? This is user error.
I don't know. It just happened.
I've had an iPhone. I have had it crack once. It fell out of my pocket when I was on my scooter.
I know.
But I've had an iPhone for about 7 or 8 years.
I know. This
9
thing
years
fell off my counter yesterday, and I was moving a pair of headphones that was like just under the corner. So I grabbed the headphones to like put them away, and it like snagged the corner of the thing and just went.
There's a history of electronic devices from the run experience.
Back to the giveaway. Back to the giveaway. You can enter by hitting the Gleam link down below, and you can get your pair or your own thing. This also acts as a pretty good buffer for when your phone falls on the ground.
First of all, get a real case. How did this fall and it still crack? You need a real case. We're gonna fix this today.
It falls a lot.
This
Craig
is
probably
not,
doesn't want to know how many times the phone falls on the ground.
Okay, active lifestyle. Parker, you asked what I'm drinking. This is Craig's patented
Crazy Kitchen
mid-morning smoothie. There are a lot of things in it: hemp seeds, chia seeds, spinach that I froze and put in my freezer, half an apple, water, frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries, some glucosamine powder. I don't know, it's just random stuff I have in my green powder.
Who wakes up in the morning is like, I just feel like I need some glucosamine.
I like the fact that it's like really nasty dark green.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm healthy. It's really the feeling of health that you need more than anything else.
It's like this taste. It tastes like health. We were talking to somebody the other day. It's like it tastes like it works.
Yeah, it does. Actually, a very new item that I've not talked about before: cacao nibs, not cacao powder. I've had cacao powder for a long time. The cacao nibs.
What's the difference between the nibs and the powder?
I think it's just the powder is like ground up nibs, but there's something about having the nibs that are much more flavorful. So I put a little bit of powder and then maybe like a, I don't know,
gives those like
an eighth of a cup or something.
Those like deep bass chocolate notes.
Try it. It's got chocolate notes to it. It actually
notes in here.
Everything tastes a little bit more chocolatey. It's kind of good.
It tastes really healthy and partly chocolate bittery at the same time. Yeah. It's my favorite combinations of things.
Okay. Well, yeah. You know what?
It's like a kale chocolate bar. Like let's combine those two things.
When you're suffering with gout at age 50 because you didn't have enough green things in your life.
Gout and a cracked iPhone, is that my future?
Yeah, pretty much.
and poor man's Bluetooth.
It's not looking good, guys.
Okay, so we asked people earlier.
Sam has been with us for 4 years.
Yes,
nice.
And we asked some first-timers as well. Mark Stobe, first-time new member from PA.
Hey, awesome.
Mark, digital high five, what's up? Charles says, just logged in, what did I miss?
Oh man,
other than me being harassed.
53 other episodes, but you can go back and catch up. Yeah, well, come in here with your broken phone and
I know
you don't even have a TRE t-shirt on. What is this?
It's underneath. It's a little chilly.
I'm representing. Chilly. You opened the window. Okay,
I did because I like
if
fresh
you're gonna take it off, we gotta watch the.
All right, fine, we'll do that.
Get your TRE on. Here it's Thursday. On Thursdays, we wear TRE gear. It's a company...
I don't have any other t-shirts at this point. That's really all I have.
What? You just sold a whole lot of t-shirts. What happened?
No, I know. I mean, what I'm saying is like all I wear are TRE t-shirts. I don't know if you notice every day. It's like, it's what I got.
We don't buy clothing anymore.
We don't really buy clothing anymore.
It's true.
Who else is here? Jasmine, training for the SF Marathon 2. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Lisa, concert series. Hi from Bremen, Germany. Rick, first-timer. What's up? Segal, hello from London. Tribrotry here from Austin. What's happening? You guys are awesome. We got a lot more of you in here too.
Sam asked if you ran in Italy or if you had only wine, and he actually biked. insane amounts with very heavy gears. I don't know if you were running, but you definitely got workouts.
We didn't. It was like 3 hours of biking a day, up really hilly terrain with a heavy AF bicycle.
Yeah. I like
very.
You can abbreviate swear words in it. Just
I know.
Yeah. Josh asked,
How do you enter the giveaway? You just look it up.
How do you enter the giveaway? There's a link below, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. There's a link below in the description, and you will see the Gleam. You just click on that, and there's a bunch of ways to enter. You can follow us on all the different things.
Yep.
Check out our training programs, all the different stuff that we do online. And if you ever want a link to all these different things, you can always come back to that Gleam link. But yeah, enter, and let's get to the... Oh, actually, you know what? Let's do training update first.
Let's do training update. Let's go in, and then we're going to dive into today's thing on race weight disorders. It's getting very personal. Like, we're going to kind of share our own background and stories there. Week 2, following the half marathon, the Run Experience half marathon program. We're like still in week 2.
Oh, we're still in week 2. Okay. I skipped to week 2, program,
which is like kind of like
bad.
It's like pretty normal for you, right? It's like, have you ever done... How many race programs have you done, and how many week 1 of those programs have you done versus like jump into like week 2, 3, or 4?
So here's a caveat. I'm always training, so it's not like I'm going from 0 to hero.
Hashtag no days off.
No, lots of days off. Just it's on a general sense.
Hashtag green smoothie cacao nibs.
I've got like 3 words in, and there's more hashtags than there are always content here. Last time I did the half marathon program, I did the whole thing start to finish. This time I'm doing the advanced program. So what I want to tell you is I did that 2 mile, quarter mile workout. So the workout was warm up. I think I warmed up for a mile and a half, and then I did 2 miles at moderate pace. Rested for a few minutes.
Yep.
I can't remember how long I rested.
Half mile easy.
Yeah, half mile easy, and then
another 2 miles at moderate pace.
And then another half mile easy, and then 4 quarters at a hard pace. The 4 quarters were not nearly as hard as I wanted them to be.
Sure. You were a little tired after the 2 miles.
I ran a 73 for my first one, and I was like, damn, that winded me.
Oh, nice. Did you run on the track?
I ran on the track.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I did an 80-second quarter, and I was like, that was pathetic. And then I did a 76 and then a 75. So I ended it strong. But like and this goes back to what we were talking about in terms of weight, and like I just feel heavy running on the track. I'm like, God, I do not feel like I'm flinging myself around these corners.
What was how did the 2 miles feel? Did you do those on the track, or did you do those on the open road?
Yeah, I think I was averaging like 625, something like that. It was kind of... First 2 mile we had like a net downhill, and the second 2 mile had a net uphill. And I was only about 5 seconds different.
If only you had your stride power meter, you could normalize.
You know,
those
the
two
funny
things.
thing is that I freaking wore the stride power meter, and I was about a mile away from the house, and it said, "Your stride is disconnected with your phone. We have recorded the whatever." I've tried that thing 3 times, and I've succeeded half of once. So I need to go back to the drawing board. And
I want to see how it connects with your little smartwatch.
Oh,
because I have one of those.
Is that nice?
Yeah.
Well,
I can give you one.
Yeah.
I can give you one.
I don't have a smartwatch. My smartwatch is not smart anymore because I bought it in 2009.
Yeah, it was about 5 miles of like quality work, and that was probably one of the harder run workouts I've done this year from a quality standpoint. I've been like getting my Achilles and calf back, as some of you guys know. So I've been building my running up, but because of that, I've kept my run intensity sort of low. So I've been using this. Is that your smartwatch?
This is my smartwatch. I had a little trouble connecting to the stride on it. I wasn't sure if it was to the interface. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I dropped it and cracked it. That's why it's not working. I don't know. Something like that.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeepers.
Anyhow, so yeah, the training actually, I will say that workout, definitely, I felt it.
It's good.
This morning I went for like, I did like an hour in the gym of like.
Did you do the other workout?
I've not done
the one workout. There's another one that's moderate for 30 minutes, 10 minutes, like kind of a hard pace. Yeah, this week.
Okay, I'll do it tomorrow.
And then there's going to be some like short hill sprints at the end, like 10-second.
That's
super hard hill sprints with lots of rest in between.
How long was your total workout on that 2 mile? Because mine was 9 miles, and I was like 9 miles, and my average pace was like 650 or something.
Damn, yeah, I was just under 8 miles, and I was like 7:30 pace.
I had to warm up in order to get to the park to do the thing, but like. That's like, 650 pace for 9 miles is like, granted, I used to just clip along at that, but at this point in my training cycle, which is nowhere in my training cycle.
Yeah.
That was like a hard workout, and this morning I was like, okay, I'll just go easy. But if I have to do that tempo thing again tomorrow, this is gonna be a long road.
It's been good. The running's been good. I'm feeling it today, guys. But I've been enjoying it. So anyway, that is our update.
Yeah, that's the training update. We'll see you again next week. I will also say that I am having to pay a lot of attention to my body because
a lot of mobility.
I just turned 37 last weekend, and I won't say that I feel it. I mean, people are like, oh, I'm really feeling old. I don't feel old, but I will say that like I'm more cautious going into like a harder training cycle. We're doing the advanced version of this program, and as I'm going into it, I'm like, okay, like I need to really pay attention to anything that comes up because a slight flare up will turn into
something.
Yeah. So
something big.
Okay,
for sure.
So training.
So that's really good.
Yes.
X Sinclair says hi from hot ass Florida.
Oh
yeah.
Nice.
You know. Where's
Eric,
hot ass?
Eric says hi from Colorado. What's up, Eric? Whoa.
Hello from Abu Dhabi.
Mr. Jane from Abu Dhabi. How's it going?
Yeah, there we go. Zezmel Selimovic.
Sam says, when Elizabeth comes on, I'd like your take on chicken broth protein powder. What? Really?
Collagen powder and smoothies.
Okay, collagen powder is actually in this thing right now, and Elizabeth okayed me on it. She's like, oh, that's great. The brand that I have is actually quite good as well. So
I love that. I definitely love that. So anyway, those are really good. But we got to get into today's topic.
Okay, let's do
race weight, the other things, and
I don't think that you and I have specifically ever talked about this before.
I don't know if we have.
I mentioned this with my parents, and they were like very taken aback when I mentioned my own inclinations toward this.
So, you know, my and we can kind of go back and forth here. I remember when I first even knew this was a thing, it was probably my junior year of cross country in high school, where our like coaches sat us down, and like I already felt really big on the high school cross country team because I weighed like 165 or 170, like kind of like how I weigh right now. But like, you know, I was racing a lot of guys who were tiny.
I was tiny.
Tiny little buddies.
Yeah.
And they already talked about like one of the leading areas of anorexia was in like teenage like men, teenage boys.
Oh,
and
really?
Just to be aware.
Yep.
And I never really thought about that. It wasn't until probably later on in the end of college where I was running a lot more. And I'd say my healthy weight was around 170, but I had dropped down to like just over 150, like 152.
Right.
I knew that when I was out on a bike ride and I was like wearing my bike shorts that are normally tight, you know, like tight fitting like a bike shorts.
Wow.
Like the strap around my quad was like flapping in the breeze.
Yeah.
So I was just like, huh.
They're kind of like the compression shorts are now like
and you know,
Umbros.
I even had like a roommate or two my senior year be like, who've known me for 4 years, be like, hey man, like what's up? And I'm like, dude, I'm just not eating like pizza and Chinese food at 2 a.m. Like, get off my nuts, you know? But it was like, you know, there was sort of something there. And just basically, I've since kind of been fine. I started gaining a lot more weight. And actually, so the whole thing of the idea that like, oh, to be a better racer, I need to be lighter.
Right.
I actually didn't start performing my best until I put on like 12 pounds.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so when I was like north of 160, like 165, that's when I was like running my best times in triathlon, like best overall everything.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was skinnier before, this wasn't working.
Right.
And then I just felt a lot happier and healthier. And basically ever since I've been in that area. But even now, guys, like I don't like to step on a scale. I don't want to know. It gets in my head. I don't like to count calories at all.
Right.
Like I hate it with the fiery passion of 1,000 suns.
Really?
And I know for some people it really works, but for me, it got me back to that place where I was like thinking about calories and how much I really burned, and then I'm like, well, I shouldn't eat this. And then my meals got like really small and weird.
Right.
And I just like
So
I dipped a toe. I didn't go all the way in.
I feel that I'm trying to ride the line of staying on the healthy side of this, but like also trying to like figure out how do I focus on my like nutrition, because I have a tendency to, I'm always messing with the thing I eat. Like I love doing stuff like this, and this is like consistency. I will say that overall, like the macro part of what I eat is usually great. But then I also have a sweet tooth. So like if I start going down the road of like, okay, I'll go and I'm at the store and I'll grab a bag of gummy bears or something like that. And I'll be like, yeah, whatever, like it's a bag of gummy bears. The problem is that like I'll eat the whole packet, and if there were 2 packets in the house, I might even dip it in the second packet.
Oh yeah.
And so like it's not really binge eat, but like I'll go down the path. And so in order to rein it in, for me, like to be healthy and eat healthy, I have to like really rein it in. Because like the kind of being in that world and like and eating some stuff, and then it's very difficult for me to be like 95%, like because the 5% of eating whatever I want to eat tends to start to go like 10% and then 15%.
So let's go back to Craig in high school and college. Yep. Running at a high level, running at a Division I program for Rice University. Like, what was like the message on race weight? Like, what did your teammates do? Yeah. What was the culture around eating and food? Like, how was your experience with that?
So in high school, it was totally, I didn't even think about it. I had a lot of friends who were anorexic and or bulimic.
Was that something that you knew at the time or was aware of at the time?
No, definitely knew at the time. I did not feel
Were you aware, because they told you or because you just observed?
Both.
Okay.
In both cases.
Yeah.
Different people, different things.
Yeah.
And I didn't really feel like I had a propensity toward it necessarily, because at that point, I entered high school at 106 pounds. I left high school at like 140 pounds.
How tall were you?
I was about this tall when I left. Yeah.
How tall were you when you went in at 106?
5'7", 5'8".
Really?
Yeah, I was skinny.
Skinny little Craig.
Yeah, I was a little stick. Damn. And but that was just kind of like that. I had not matured yet. I had not put on any weight, and it wasn't a matter of my eating. It's just how I was. And I would eat anything at that point. In college, like I used to eat 5-6 sandwiches just for lunch. And
at the time, even when you're that skinny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd have peanut butter sandwich. I had 4 peanut butter sandwiches.
Your parents fed you more than once a day.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay.
And then getting out of high school, I was in college, and college the food wasn't as good, and I was like bulking up a little bit compared to where I was, but like they told me like, hey, you're gonna have to put on some weight if you want to be able to run 90 to 100 miles a week. You cannot run with like a 1% body fat.
Interesting. So you were so low that they were encouraging you to gain weight just to be more.
I didn't like it though. Like
resilient.
I didn't like the idea of putting on weight. I didn't get that innately. And then coming out of college, I think I was racing at like 160 or so.
So what didn't you like about it? Because I know a lot of times, you hear stories of runners going to college with their coach, and they're like, "We need you to run this many miles," or "This is the philosophy of our program." Yep. And it takes a while for the runner to like really internalize and trust that.
Yep.
Was the fear like, oh, if I gain weight, I'm actually going to run slower, or I'm just not going to feel as good?
It had less to do with running and more to do with and I still have this sense now, like I just don't like the idea of having extra stuff. Like if it's not useful to me, like for example, when I started CrossFit and I started putting on like more like upper body weight, I was totally fine with it because I'm like, this is useful to me, right? Now that I'm like, and this is the kind of the crux I'm in right now is, I've stopped doing as much CrossFit as I was doing, and I might go back to it.
Yeah.
I've started to try to focus on my mobility and flexibility and try to get back more into running. And I've rediscovered my love of like just going out and just putting in miles. Like there was a point in time where like I was like not competing anymore, and so I was like, how much? And like I love it. Every morning that I get to go run is just a great morning for me. And so the problem is that my body type now is one that is closer to being a CrossFit athlete than it is to where I was as a runner.
Yeah.
And so I have this kind of like, well, I'm not really good at changing my body type. I'm good at changing my workouts and like having it follow.
Huh.
And so I'm in the spot of like, we have this half marathon coming up, and I'm like, well, I'm at like 190 right now. And 190 is when we get in the gym and we lift, I can lift a lot of weight at 190.
Someone was asking how tall we are, Charlie.
Yeah.
I am just over 6 foot.
I'm just over him.
Yeah. So you're like what, 6'2"? 6'2".
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And so, I actually think that the numbers and all this stuff about this weight, that is really not the important part. I mean, I could be 20 pounds heavier or 20 pounds lighter. The problem when it comes up is that the mentality around it.
Yeah.
And so the thing that I have to be careful about is if I start focusing too much on like my nutrition and food, I start treating it the way that I treat running or the way that I treat anything, and I get intense about it. And unlike running, where like you can put some intensity behind it, and like you have to kind of put some bumper rails so you don't get injured. Food, there's not really an injury. There's just an unhealthiness, and that kind of feeds itself.
And what happens, and Elizabeth will talk more about this. Actually, maybe we'll save that for when she gets on, because we'll have Elizabeth talk about some of the health impacts that can really both positively and negatively change as we eat our food. But I wanted to read Mario Fraioli's story. He's the opening part of his newsletter. And guys, if you aren't subscribed to the Morning Shakeout, it is really fantastic.
Go to morningshakeout.com. Nate and I both read it religiously.
It's for runners of all interest levels. Mario talks as much about the elite side, but he just talks about like interesting stories. He's a great writer. And he shared this photo of himself where he was a lot leaner. And right now, like, he's, a runner. He's on the skinnier side, but like he's got a little more muscle. He's been coming to the gym. He's got a little muscle in there. But he read this thing. He says, "This was me 13 years and about 20 pounds ago." Do you have the photo?
Let me show it. Hang on one second.
We're going to be able to pull up the photo.
Browser. Boom.
And you might not even notice that much. Like, he just looks like a runner.
Yeah.
But he was like this guy probably is like 150 right now, so he probably was down to 130.
And Mario's not an extremely tall individual, so
he's not tall.
Losing, he must be like 5'9". Yeah,
very good runner.
And so losing 20 pounds is a big deal.
Very good runner right now. He's got a 2:28 marathon PR. He was a great miler in college, but he was trying to make it as a runner out of college, and he just went down this road. And he says, "This was me 13 years ago and about 20 pounds ago. I was 1 year out of college where I was an NCAA Division II All-American in cross country and qualified for internationals in the mile. And you wouldn't necessarily know it by looking at this photo, but I was silently struggling with disordered eating at the time. In an attempt to take my running to the next level, I convinced myself that I needed to better look the part of an elite distance runner. So I ran a lot, 90 to 105 miles a week most weeks. But I also cut calories, and this is the crazy part. Swore off snacking, didn't allow myself dessert, and made sure that I didn't eat or drink after 8 p.m. I obsessively tracked every calorie, less than 2,000 a day." Could you imagine?
That's amazing. To even survive on 2,000 calories a day when
just like I feel
you're
like
that much mileage.
I just like do that as like an everyday thing, and to run at that level and not have it, and weighed myself at every opportunity. I lost a lot of weight in a short period of time, but I was never skinny enough, which I convinced myself was why my race times weren't getting faster. The numbers on the clock or in my training log hardly mattered much anymore. 10 miles wasn't 10 miles or even a good workout. No, 10 miles was roughly 1,000 calories burned, which is not how you want to be thinking if your real objective is to compete at a high level. This is one of the reasons why I really don't like counting calories and measuring calorie burn for exercise, because it's so rough. It isn't accurate.
It doesn't give you a picture of anything.
It doesn't really give you a picture. It just messes people up.
Somebody mentioned here, do you want to continue with that?
I do,
okay,
yeah.
Go ahead, please, yeah.
I was in a bad place, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, socially, and otherwise. And last little bit here. Fast forward a bit, I eventually turned the corner and adopted a much healthier relationship with food, my body, and running. But 2 years of unhealthy behavior caught up to me. Lower bone density contributed to 3 major stress fractures. For those of you guys dealing with stress fractures out there, look at your nutrition. 2 in my sacrum and 1 in my pubic symphysis, which is nuts. Which the orthopedist told me he usually saw in elderly women and birthing mothers. While the integrity of my fingernails and toenails suffered, I experienced regular bloating and also saw increased instances of tooth decay among a smattering of other issues I still deal with today. My story isn't a unique one. Eating disorders are an issue in running and many sports for that matter, and at all levels. It
is crazy, that the mentality and what you can do to your body when you're that low on calories and that low on nutrients is, I didn't realize that that lowered bone density would come from that, but it makes sense, like it's
So anyway, so kudos to Mario for sharing that,
Right.
Personal story. That is an extreme end. But just to say, like, we get weird with food.
Yep.
Yeah. I just think about it like,
and you can hide it as a runner. A lot of times you can hide it as, hey, you're eating, this because of your health. But I think really the line has more to do with mentality than it does to do with what you're eating, because you can eat, what might be a very normal diet for somebody else. But if your mentality around it is unhealthy, then it can go to an unhealthy place no matter who you are.
Renee chimes in, struggled with anorexia better than 15 years ago. It's a dark place to be.
Yep.
Lisa, I get workout from a look at it, but it messes with my mind that I need to consume even more food, I know I need fuel, but it's not that easy to act on it, for sure. Well, let's get Elizabeth on the line.
Yeah.
And have her call in.
One of the things I'll just mention is that, some people who hear these stories will have absolutely no relationship to it and have, just kind of wonder like how or why would anybody do this? And what I'll say is that there's a large percentage of people who are struggling with this who do it completely by themselves. And I think that no matter where you are on the spectrum of your relationship 100%. To food, I think the important thing to do is try to be as understanding as possible, because the loneliness of dealing with this and thinking you're the only one. The reason we are doing this show and the reason that we talked about this morning of like, hey, let's talk about this. It was really interesting to see Mario's newsletter, is that we want to be like as clear as possible that this is something that is very common. And that the solution to it is definitely not to suffer in silence.
No.
And to shame yourself and that sort of thing.
No.
Having help and having like a sounding board and having just kind of the viewpoint that, hey, this is something I'm dealing with, and the awareness of it is kind of the first step towards having a healthy relationship.
Totally. So I've just texted Elizabeth, so hopefully she'll be dialing in as we go here.
Let me just make sure I got everything.
But
here's your.
Oh yeah,
just think next week you'll have one of your own.
Hey, who knew? Getting some comments from our Facebook page. Jennifer says, I'm in the same boat as Craig, had a hard time putting on weight as a high school student and college student. Got a lot of pressure from people around me to gain weight.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing.
The kind of staying healthy with this or kind of battling it can be a very long road too. So I think that you also have to have a little bit of like grace with yourself as far as like, trying to change things.
Melissa chimes in, hey from Colorado. The race weight thing has always been an issue for me. I'm always thinking I need to be thinner to be faster. I always have to remind myself that it's the strength and consistency that matters. This is why I love following Kelly Roberts. She's real.
All right.
Hey, Elizabeth.
Oh boy. I feel like... Okay. Hopefully... Can you guys hear Elizabeth? Is the question? Well, you can't hear her yet. Hold on.
We can't hear her yet, but we're going to get that all sorted out. Hopefully we'll be able to mix this in.
Video guest. Okay, I'm going to have to continue to mess with this for a second. Hold on.
All right. So while we get Elizabeth's audio onboarded and everything, I'll just be reading out a few of your guys' comments so far. Michael Moore asks, what are the weight ranges of elite men runners? Probably, and granted, a lot of these guys are shorter. They probably, I would almost say like the average elite runner is like 5'8".
So we can see her now.
Okay.
But can they hear her is the question.
Let's see.
You're going to have to say something. It doesn't sound like this is like, audio is really, let me see if I can fix this. We had this problem last time, didn't we, Elizabeth? But now, see, I have Nate here, so you can kind of cover
I know,
for me
so it's crazy to be doing this thing.
This is really the worst thing ever when...
I know. In an effort to bring you guys all these fun guests, we're trying to make sure that all of this stuff is working there. I'll get Jasmine's question real quick. Can I train with a broken rib? I would say a lot of times broken ribs, there's not like anything you can do from a cast standpoint. Like pain is usually going to be your guide in terms of what you can do. Be aware of obviously breathing. Deeper breaths can sometimes make that a little bit more painful. And not just the rib itself, but all the intercostal muscles in between. When you break a rib, those guys can get tweaked out a little bit. So cautiously, yes. The other thing to think about with running is just the jarring and the impact of running could be the thing that bothers you.
All right, let's see if this works. It's going to go from here to here. So.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Can you, now people should be able to hear you.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Can you guys hear me?
All right. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes. We can take these out.
Yeah.
That's half the battle.
Oh, where did you go?
No, she's...
Hey. Hi, fellas. I've been following along, listening the whole time. This is excellent. I love the discussion today.
Yeah? Okay, good. We would love to be able to see you, too. Hold on. Well, you can keep talking. Don't worry. I'll fix this.
Yeah, we'll get this. And even if we just have her voice, that's just fine as well.
So while Craig's figuring that out, I just want to mention before we get into the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Craig, I have been talking about cacao nibs for 3 years now.
Oh.
Is my microphone not on?
No. You know the thing is that I always thought of cacao nibs and cacao powder as being the same thing.
Yeah.
And I've had cacao powder, since actually one of your recipes. And
you've also been talking about goat milk, Elizabeth, and we don't know what to take for real and what to take not for real.
Sometimes we just don't pay attention to what you say.
You can't have it both ways, okay?
Well, I like to give you a hard time, but I feel like this is something my friends and family, I talk about this stuff, and then years later, just the other day, my dad said, hey, the Wall Street Journal had an article about green tea. Did you know green tea is good for you? And I thought,
nope. Tell me more. Yeah, exactly. Tell me more. Tell me more about that, Mom and Dad.
Wait, so why do you like? So mine is purely from a flavor perspective, and what is the difference between cacao nibs and cacao powder? I don't really know.
Nothing. It's just the hardened chocolate. So basically, cacao nibs are great for baking. And then anytime I want that kind of mint chip flavor, you get that little crunch to it. So if you do kind of a banana mint chip smoothie going on, add some, you like fresh herbs, add some fresh mint in there and the cacao nibs. And,
so the interesting thing is I'm blending this up anyhow. There's no crunch in here because it's Vitamix. If you don't have a Vitamix, you should consider getting one. It's one of my favorite devices.
Okay.
Anyhow. I'm not being paid to say that.
Brought to you by Vitamix.
Yeah.
We should have them as a giveaway. That'd be fun, right?
But yeah, I find that the flavor from the cacao nibs is so much better than the
That is good.
Gives you something to chew on.
Yep.
So anyway, glad you're using those.
Yep.
So Elizabeth, let's get into it. What is your experience with the race weight conversation? With athletes you've consulted with, as well as yourself. Obviously, there is some validity to, racing at optimal things. So the questions or things that I would want to potentially discuss that I think will be interesting for people is, do I need to, first of all, how do I know what my race weight is? And also, do I need to be at my race weight all year long?
Great questions. So first, just to, put it out there, even, a lot of people think I might be immune to these things because I'm a nutritionist, but absolutely not. I've definitely been down that road of thinner is probably better. And how, unfortunately or fortunately as a nutritionist, I kind of know the different tricks. So I know just enough to be dangerous, I guess you'd say. And it's definitely something that over the years, as a runner and as a triathlete, you see the people that are competing, and triathlon is, I think, a little better than running per se. But you see that out there, and as a woman, it's something that's really hard to avoid. So you want to. I'm really glad that we're having this discussion. For both men and women. So it's great to share. And I think my point, I remember my triathlon coach at the time pulled me out of the swim practice, and he said, you know what? I'm worried about you. You've gotten thin. You're getting, you're getting slower. You're not you. So I think it's important to be able to be aware of it, but also to bring it up in situations like this. But talk to your teammates. If you're a coach of young runners or young athletes, if your friends are getting too thin, like, it's definitely something to discuss and bring up. So glad we're talking about it.
Elizabeth, not to put you on the spot a little bit, but do you mind sharing a little bit more about like your own background or like any details you feel comfortable sharing?
Sure. So I guess growing up as a swimmer, and maybe I was immune to it, but the weight thing, like being comfortable with your body was, swimmers are a little bit bigger to begin with, so it was never an issue.
It's
fixed.
And I remember on one of my recruiting trips, I went to University of Las Vegas. They had flown me out, and one of the girls that was on the team made a comment of, beware, just want you to know, like, if you come here, we get weighed before every swim practice.
Wow.
And
really?
I was like, what? You get, why? I was totally confused. It was something, I had no concept of it. And she said, yep, the coach stands on the pool deck and weighs us before every practice. And if you're too heavy, he puts you on a meal plan and you stay after. And it just, so I think that was kind of my awakening of, as an 18-year-old, what is, dieting and weight and how that matters. And
what was the coach's perspective there? Was that because obviously when kids go to college, especially that freshman year, that's like one of the first times in their life that they're like making their own eating choices, and they're eating at all weird times of day, and so obviously everyone takes a little while to kind of self-regulate there. Was it that, or was it more specifically from a swim performance standpoint?
So, I didn't go to UNLV. I went to UC Santa Barbara, so I didn't know that coach very well. But in his case, I know that he didn't weigh the male athletes, only the female athletes.
Oh.
So I think part of that was a way to control. And again, it's a lot harder to get. You very rarely saw 18 to 22-year-old men overweight on a college swimming program. That was just, you were seeing thousands and thousands of yards a day. It just wasn't happening. But some of the women did that. Freshman 15, you're eating in the dorms, you're practicing a lot, you have a food card, you can eat whenever you want, however much you want. So I'm sure part of it had to do with that. But I know at Santa Barbara, where I went, that was not the culture at all. The coach was very supportive and, tried to have programs for freshman athletes. And it was kind of all of the athletes together. Yeah. So we had track, soccer, they taught us about healthy eating, what they thought was healthy eating at the time. Nutrition was a required course, a general ed course for all athletes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
I think they had a really healthy outlook for it. But I know that there are programs, and I'm sure in track and things that are where it's not as healthy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when you go into, running and triathlon, not only kind of for yourself, but for others, like we always hear the question, like, I need to lose weight. And if you're working with someone, like sometimes you could maybe say that's true. And other times you could say, that's like probably more in your head than you realize. Like, how do you navigate that conversation and steer athletes?
So it's something that I let the athletes bring up. I always like it to be their discussion, not someone else pointing it out. And if they ask me, do you think I'm overweight? Do you think I need to lose weight? I return that and frame it in, well, have you gained weight recently? Are you eating, are you taking care of your body the way that you should? Are you sleeping? So checking off those boxes first before discussing weight is always important. Mm-hmm. And then there's percent body fat is not a reliable way necessarily, but it's not a bad way. I don't encourage people, like, I don't own a scale. I don't like to weigh, I refuse to weigh myself. It has no bearing on my life whatsoever. So I don't ask my athletes to weigh themselves.
Yeah.
But all of us, I think, as a general population, know if we're not at a healthy weight for our body. I think there's a difference between a healthy weight and being overweight.
Yeah.
So if you're overweight, if you gained weight, what did you weigh when you were 20 years old versus what you weigh when you're 40 years old?
Right.
If that difference is 100 pounds, then you have an issue. If that difference is 10 pounds, 15 pounds, then you're a little bit closer in that box of, okay, could I eat a little better? Am I not taking care of myself?
Yeah.
So that's what you kind of use as that line. And then because people can get body fat testing now, which isn't accurate necessarily, but a lot of people know body fat percentages, and that's when you can tell someone, okay, did you have your body fat percentage tested? And it's, 36% versus 18%.
Yeah.
Then that's a good clue. So it's very intuitive. And then from the perspective of, are you too thin, or when clients will come to me and say, I think I need to lose some weight, and I can clearly tell that they don't, that's when I can ask the questions, are you sleeping? For females, have you lost your monthly cycle? For men, have you lost your sex drive? Because all of these are dangerous warning signs that then I can use, instead of talking about their weight, instead of saying, obviously you're too skinny, there's probably something going on, I can say, hey, your body's shutting down. Your body's giving you a sign that it's not working well.
Like normal hormone levels are starting to shift and change a little bit in crazy ways. And if you guys don't know Tina Muir or her story, she basically didn't have a period for like 9 years. And I think she was told that was like normal by doctors, like working with her elite runner, and just, again, kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah. And it's something that women especially, they're like, okay, I don't have a period for that's no problem. It's inconvenient anyway.
Yeah.
But, and they don't realize the long-term implications of that.
Yeah.
So your body will give you signs on either side. So if you're overweight, you're having trouble breathing, you're having trouble sleeping, maybe that's why I love Inside Tracker. You've had your blood tested and your cholesterol's off. You're in danger of type 2 diabetes. So there's that side, but then there's also the opposite side of testosterone levels are low, hormone levels are low, iron's low, those kinds of things.
Right. Really good. Well, let's get into maybe some questions, because we had a few questions from our people online. Joshua says, I read your article about burning fat instead of carbs. And Elizabeth, I believe that is one of the blog articles you wrote for us probably last year.
Okay.
And if you remember. He basically says, how should we balance the burning of fat and weight?
Okay. So I think I should pull up my article. The concept behind fat burning has kind of got a little out of control, and people are of the idea that if you don't eat carbohydrates, that your body kind of somehow magically starts burning fat. Yeah. And that's not at all how the process works. So the idea of fat burning is, yes, your body's consuming less, and eventually the way that your body starts to burn, it burns the available glucose, the carbohydrates that you have. Then it will start to go through some of your muscle, because that's easy to get through, and going through some of your stored fat. The problem then is where people thinking that then all of a sudden their body only burns that fat for energy. And that's not, it doesn't exactly work that way. Okay. So I think the question is, how do you utilize fat burning and still consuming carbohydrates, or how do you combine those two? Mm-hmm. Right. So in this case, the idea is you use carbohydrates to fuel your activity, and only enough carbohydrates to fuel your activity. And then when you're not being active, you're consuming healthy fats and allowing your body to use those to kind of burn up that for energy. So doing some fasted training is an example of how to utilize fat burning and how to start transitioning your body towards.
Can you comment on those two things? One is enough carbohydrates to fuel your activity, and then fasted training. So one, how would you know? Like if you're running, you go out and do an 8-10 mile workout, whatever it is. Because here we get into the whole calorie thing. Like, are you trying to say, okay, well then there's 1,000 calories of carbohydrates that I need in my diet because I had a 10-mile workout, and then the fasted, the idea of fasted training. I never really do you think about fasted training? I guess I don't eat before I run, so yeah, theoretically I guess I'm fasted training, but
technically, especially if you run in the mornings,
and you haven't eaten for a while.
Since dinner. So the carbohydrate piece, that's completely different for every athlete. So there's no way to say, you know, oh, have 10 grams, 20 grams, 50 grams of carbohydrate before you exercise or during your exercise.
Right.
So it's about knowing how long you're going to be out, what meal you've had before, what meal you're going to be having after. You know, there's general ideas of half a banana, a full banana, maybe a slice of toast with some almond butter. You know, it's just making sure that you have some kind of carbohydrate, and then the amount depends on how much you weigh and how long you're going out for. And then from there, saying, okay, what does my body need? How much am I looking at for the whole day? And that, you know, gives you a general idea. You know, we should all have a general idea of about how much we should be eating during the day based on our activity level and height and weight and gender. So there's no way to say, you know, in general, 15 to 40 grams of carbohydrates, somewhere in there, depending on what you're doing and how long you're training for. And
that's pretty low, isn't it? That's like not a lot of carbohydrates, right?
15. Oh no, that's like, again, half a banana to a banana.
Wow.
You know, I think a slice of bread is what, 15 grams, 20 grams of carbohydrates.
Yep.
A couple small potatoes, those kind of like baked roasted potatoes, those kinds of things.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And intermittent, or the fasting piece of it, is the idea that, and this shouldn't be, you should not do this for all of your training sessions. A lot of people took that too far and started only working out when they've fasted for 12 hours. It's something to incorporate or think about incorporating on lower intensity sessions, on your recovery sessions.
Yeah.
You can, and the idea there is that your body is, since you don't have those immediate carbohydrates, your body is utilizing some of that stored energy for, you know, you're processing some of that stored energy. And it's the time you don't want to do it, like the training, the 2 miles, quarter miles, that's not the time to go for fasted training.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to go for, you know, you pick your key workouts during the week, whether that's your long run or your these specific tempo sessions. Those are ones you definitely don't want to be going in fasted for. And I think since we're talking about eating disorders, this is a good time to mention it's not, I definitely did more training sessions fasted than I should have.
Yeah.
And you know, you pay the price. You will, so it's not a healthy, if you're not in a healthy place, don't start implementing fasted training sessions, and know that it's not, you're not going to use those for performance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never really thought about fasted training. I mean, I just don't tend to eat because I go work out early in the morning. So theoretically, how long is fasted? Is that like is there a specific amount of hours?
Minimum is 10. A lot of people just say 12 is kind of the standard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Really?
And there's people that will say that are, you know, they say they're keto or they're all fat-based or whatever, and they'll say, I can go out for 4 hours of running without eating anything, and, you know, just because someone says that, it might work for them, but that doesn't mean that it works for everyone, and it doesn't mean that you should. So don't take the one example or the, you know, small minority of people and start applying that to your training.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I got a question from Brent Ransom saying, are there meal plans with any of the TRE plans? Brent, we actually do. We have a healthy challenge going on, healthy habits challenge going on right now. We don't do meal plans. We do, and Elizabeth can explain this as well, but we try to focus on developing habits that you can repeat, so that when the end of the quote unquote meal plan ends, that you're not kind of like left in the wind. So we have kind of different focuses throughout these challenges. That
why don't, Elizabeth, like we've done a bunch of nutrition challenges together. We're in the middle of week 2, or towards the end of week 2, I think, of our healthy habits. Like what's a check-in? How are things going? What are people working on right now?
Sure. So our Healthy Habits Challenge, for those that aren't doing it or don't know yet, it's one simple task every day for 28 days. The concept behind that is that that's how long, you know, a couple weeks it takes, 21 to 28 days to start something new. Mm-hmm. And these are all very doable food challenges, not a diet plan.
Yeah.
So Last week we did things like finding our why. That was to start why we want to change. Is it for family, for personal? We kind of reorganized the kitchen and pantry, and this week we're going more into how to meal prep for the week.
Yeah.
We had a great group of people all talking about different ways that they get ready for the week and how it makes it easier to pack lunches.
Yep.
We talked about how to make up a shopping list.
Oh.
How to, find different recipes. So we, teach how to look for recipes, how to adapt to recipes. And then as the weeks move on, next week it's a little more complicated. We start trying different cuisines and learning, like, how do you order off of a restaurant menu?
Yeah.
What are some
Elizabeth,
tricks?
so you can see it. Here's my packed lunch for the day. I've got a little quarter roasted chicken, some sweet potatoes, some Brussels sprouts.
Where's mine?
I don't know where yours is. Yours is right here. It's cacao nibs, the kale chocolate bar.
So perfect. So exactly. That's you're always great about packing your lunches, Nate.
Yeah, Nate's really good at that.
That's your jam. So
That's just survival.
So we've had a lot of people, kind of participating, and I think the thing with the meal plans, to answer that question, is I personally, my philosophy is there isn't a one magical diet that works for everybody. There isn't one way of eating. There are a lot of good recommendations of things to eat, mostly plants.
Right.
Making sure you're getting your vitamins and minerals. I don't want to ever create or contribute to a space that says this is the way that you have to eat.
Yeah.
So instead, at the Run Experience, I try to make sure that we share recipes for plant-based athletes, for Whole30 paleo type athletes, recipes with foods that I know are beneficial for runners that promote recovery. We've done a lot of videos to try and teach you, how to, what kinds of foods to help prevent illness, what kinds of foods to help boost your immunity and support recovery.
Yeah.
So we like to treat the entire athlete and not just break it down into a meal plan.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
And I think that's probably a good place to take a stop for now. I know we could pick your brain for a whole lot longer and dive into a lot more of these questions.
Oh, wow, we're at the end of the hour.
I know. So,
Crazy.
Of course, Elizabeth, we'll have to have you on a few more times just to get into this, because the people want to know. They want to know all the stuff. So,
Quick thing,
please.
Just 1 second about race weight. I just wanted to make sure, because I think we really dove into it, but in my personal philosophy, race weight is that weight that you can perform at your best. So there's no specific race weight that you're going to be at it's where your performance kind of meets body composition.
Right.
And definitely something that you're not at all year long.
Right.
It's something that you kind of fine tune maybe 3 weeks or so before your race.
yeah.
Kenyan runners, always, they do this, they've done studies on them, like Sweat Science is a great group that's done it. Kenyan runners gain I think it's like the end of November to December, or whenever they take a month, and they gain 8 to 12 pounds, and
Wow.
they don't do anything of it. That's part of their healthy rebuilding. So it's not something that you want to sit at. And race weight is something for you that you shouldn't put a number out there. You should watch how are you training? If you're getting a little leaner, are you still sleeping? Are you still training well? Are you making those improvements?
Right.
That's where performance and body composition, where those meet, that's race weight.
Right.
That's really good. That is a great summary.
Very cool.
Well, thanks, Elizabeth. So, guys, remember, you can still enter the giveaway to get your own TRE pop socket for your phone. Hit that Gleam link down below. And, of course, we have to do drawing from last week.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. Because remember, we
Guys,
do
the pop
things
sockets,
that way.
Actually, one of my favorite things that we've actually done. That is continuously with me, obviously, because it's on my phone. But I give them out to my friends, and it's, yeah. So you're going to like that if you get it.
Right on. So the winner last week of a
There you
yoga
go.
tune-up ball and a free month of the training club. We've got 2 winners.
All right, we're going to...
I'm drawing them right now.
All right, Elizabeth, I'm going to go back to our main screen. Thank you very much for signing in. We will chat with you soon.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
All right.
All right, our winners from last week are Daniel Pena from Houston, Texas.
Oh, nice.
And Hannah Loftus from Colorado Springs.
I love Colorado
Congratulations,
Springs.
guys. You are winners of that yoga tune-up ball and a free month of the training club. You can dive into all of our programs that we have.
Including the Healthy Habit Challenge.
Including the Healthy Habits. And it's all laid out and structured. It's easy for you to start at day one, whatever you want to, follow through, jump into our community. Elizabeth is in there all the time answering your questions. It's really a great supportive thing. We're super proud of it.
Okay, can we take a 30 seconds and 30 seconds, and I want you to read out that thing we got from Holly.
Yes.
Can we do that?
We can. So.
Okay, hang on one second. I'm gonna see if I can get this for you.
I got it right here.
You do?
Yep. I don't know if you're trying to put it on the screen or anything.
Hold on. Hold on. I got it.
We wanted to share a little message that Coach Holly got this morning doing some of our follow-along workouts on YouTube. Hopefully you guys have been liking those, and if you don't know that we've been doing these follow-along workouts on strength, mobility, core, it's a whole lot of fun. Hey there, folks. I've been lurking on the TRE YouTube channel for too long and decided to get serious and join. We've been getting a lot of messages like that lately, which is really gratifying. Awesome. I have to give a huge shout out to Coach Holly. A while back, I was doing a 15-minute workout she shared on YouTube, and my 8-year-old daughter asked what in the heck I was doing. I explained that it was a workout I learned from an online running coach. My daughter just rolled her eyes and made a comment about how silly I was. She asked who the coach was, and I said her name is Holly. My daughter's ears perked up, and she asked if Holly was a girl, and I said, you bet, and she's a super awesome runner that can teach me how to be a great runner. We watched the video, and my daughter was smitten with the fact that my coach is a girl. Guess who joins in with my workouts every once in a while now? Thanks, Holly.
That just warms my heart.
Yeah,
I love it.
So great.
I love it, love it, love it. And just so you know, that it was a male that it was a father.
Who put that in there? Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so father had his daughter, and it's just kind of like breaking the mold.
I know, so cool. So anyway,
so
good job, Holly.
It made Holly's week. It made my week. It made Nate's. We love hearing that stuff. For you guys that are in the training club, let us know how your training is going, because we actually do read all those comments, and we like to hear from you, as we do like to hear from you in our live show. Guys, it is past the hour. I thought it was worth going past the hour because of that nice little blurb, but we'll be back here next week. Both in town, so it'll be the two of us. And thank you really much for a lot for kind of attention and diving into this topic that was a little bit on the more personal side. Yeah. And a little bit more down some of the serious paths and some of the pitfalls, as well as the amazing things that running brings into our lives. So yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
see you guys
guys
next week. Here comes the outro.
Boom. There we go.